maps in the presentation. This presentation will contain an overview of the growth management plan and the land development code that relates to the proposed CBIIZO, the overlay, that's the background for it. I will describe what an innovation zone is. An innovation zone is a resolution that was passed that allows these actions to take place. I will detail what an overlay is, a zoning overlay is, because that's what the CBIIZO in the end will be once it's proposed and passed. And I will overview what the CBIIZO itself will do, the zoning actions that it will do, which include both new uses, new allowed economic development uses, and also design standards. Following that will be the next steps to the approval process. This is the first of many steps. This is the public information meeting. Following this public information meeting, which is for both the comprehensive planning section and the land development code section, there will be different hearings that will be public hearings that will take place for each amendment, for the land development code amendment and the growth management plan, which was spoken earlier by Eric Johnson, was that we can do your participation is very much valuable to the procedures that go on for the amendments and development of the government. Now I'm going to pass the microphone off to Corey, who will go on about the growth management plan.
Many of you know me from previous information meetings.
And if not, Courtney Schmidt, I'm the planner of the department. One of the things that we're here for tonight is to look at the growth management plan that will create the district itself, the overlay area. Was already set up in an earlier version action by the board. Didn't have any impact on the comprehensive plan, LBC, or the specific uses. And so we're here to follow through the direction from that original document. I think one of the things I'd like to touch on is this does provide a geographic framework. Not sure what kind of outline you see, but the specific boundaries is the aliens in the newspaper ad. This is something that has definitive boundaries. Where is this taking place? What's changing where? And it's inside these boundaries. As you already know, it's like critical centers on the 9. And the larger area for the earlier expansion, the park area and so forth. One of the things that the comprehensive plan language does is outlines the specific uses for the LBC. And those kinds of uses that we group them on. Feed them into categories are to include manufacturing uses, global logistics and trade, finance and insurance, information technology, professional, scientific, and technical services, educational services, medical and diagnostic laboratories, and space research. Specific uses will be gone over by Sean and the LBC's idea for proposal we want to have a printout on. I think for me that's enough. The specifics we found it more strong than it has to.
Thank you, Gordon. Courtney mentioned an innovation zone, so I'll talk to you, I will explain what an innovation zone is. First off, there are 3 innovation zones in the county, and there is an innovation zone specifically for this area called the interchange activity center number 9 innovation zone. Passed by an ordinance in 2018-39. You can see that Courtney was describing the innovation zone as a specific geographic area. This is it. You can see that there's the I-75 Alligator Alley and then Collier Boulevard. And it's all 4 quadrants of this intersection, the highway, the interstate highway, and the Collier Boulevard. You can see that the proposed innovation for the innovation zone is the red area, the boundaries of it. It's the intent of the board to create a dedicated source of revenue to fund economic development program and to advance economic development initiatives. An innovation zone definition is a geographic area created by resolution to determine the tax increment to be paid into an economic development trust zone to fund economic development environment, which is approved for each zone, each of these 3. So the 3 innovation zones in the county are, there's one in area, which is the northeastern portion of the county. Then there's the Golden Gate City Economic Development Zone, which is nearby here. And there's also the interchange activities number 9 innovations, which is the subject zone that we're going to speak about right now. This is the innovation zone area. It's also the area of activity zone number 9, the general area. I spoke about a trust zone. The trust zone can be used for infrastructure, extension of targeted industry, impact fees, and building permits. That's the innovation zone. Now, what is being proposed along with the growth management plan amendment is land development code amendment. The land development code amendment works in concert with that innovation zone that I just described. What it does is it carries out the objectives by ordinance, listing out the newly allowed uses by standard industrial classification. The handout that you may have taken has a list of the draft that's in the land development code amendment currently, and it has by each use a 4-digit SIC code, which is the standard industrial classification code. These codes are assigned to each use. Now, again, what the land development code amendment is to do is to implement the goals, objectives, and policy of growth management plan amendment, which are directed by the board of county commissioners. These uses that are in that list that you have are from the qualified targeted industries. I will go into a little further detail on that later on. These are economic development uses that are identified by the statute. Now, there are going to be new uses proposed, new economic development uses proposed, and along with those economic development uses that are being proposed, are going to be planning standards, which are added to ensure that the area retains its character and also prevents and/or offsets possible uses that are created by these uses. New economic development uses. This is the boundary of the CBI, the proposed CBIIZO overlay. You can see in the bottom of the screen there's a north arrow that is up is north, left is west, right is east. There's a scale here for you to see just about how far things are apart from one another. And the bold black contour line is the boundary of the CBIIZO. Once again, these actions were directed by the Board of County Commissioners. This is to promote economic opportunities within the county, but specifically in the Activity Center 9 area, to introduce clean and advanced businesses and industries. I've been speaking back at December 9. There's a lot of terms stating, let me define you what Activity Center 9 is. It's a peer change activity center, which allows the highest level of economic activity in the county. The Land Development Code Amendment is a means of implementing the innovation zone established in 2008 with the area to promote 21st century modern businesses set forth by qualified targeted industries that are identified by Florida statutes. This area is about 1,200 acres. And just to familiarize yourself with the area a little bit more, there's some landmarks here just to get you about to what businesses, what existing industries are there. So, for instance, in the northwest is the microwave elementary school. Not really an industry, but a building. And then there's Uline Industries. I'm not sure if you've heard of Uline Industries, but it's a very large institution that is being constructed currently. It's in development. Yes, the one in second row.
Okay. I'm very loud, trusting how we this. Okay, Uline Industries has 300 signs in and out 24/7. What is Collier County going to do for truck stops and other opportunities for the truck drivers to get them in more else? When you're adding all of this economics, you have all these trucks coming in, and the closest truck stop is in Fort Myers, or Miami, or across the alley. So Uline is a huge truck thing at Amazon, and what is the county going to do to help them?
You can take that question and I can give you my card and you can find the best division of the county to speak to get the answer to the question. But what this is a land development code amendment. What this does is it allows new uses and it creates design standards for those uses.
Yeah, but that would be a great new use in this area.
Like a truck stop.
Yeah. Wash, inspection, all that stuff is really important for the truck drivers, so that would be great to add to your land code requests. Since it's nowhere else in Collier County and you're gonna dump everything in Golden Gate anyway, why not dump something where you can make money?
And Mike Bosey, the planning and zoning director, there is a multitude of commercially established properties within the activity center number 9 that can host a truck stop. Now, we haven't specifically targeted or promoted a truck stop to be developed in relationship to the Uline facility. But I will say that there's plenty of opportunity if a truck stop would like to be located in the activity center. If most of these that are within the commercial and the industrial zoning are auto-oriented or manufacturing type goals. So there is that opportunity to not get them with it. But we understand. We appreciate it.
Yes, we appreciate any input to provide. Going on, so there's Uline there, there's Walmart in the southwest quadrant, there's Cracker Barrel in the southeast quadrant, there's a Dunkin' Donuts here, there's Structured Medical, which Structured Medical is a advanced industry that produces medical related goods. That's all of them. Just to get you one. Might be a word in this. Yes, the woman in this. Hold on a second. Are you talking about in the northeastern quadrant or the entire?
The area where you set up the.
Uline Industries.
Yeah.
Up here, I see a road that goes behind.
And No, you know, lodge to the.
Wolf Lodge is gonna be right near the 6:20.
Right, so I think we can in and out. The same two roads.
Yes. So. What is that? So. On-site solutions are taken care of. During the development process. So what we're doing right here is we're proposing uses and development standards, which specifically is whole area. So the lodge, any other business would have to comply with the existing county requirements in the books right now. Again, this is an economic development zone area. The proposal is to try to attract advanced manufacturing, other types of industrial activities. So, yes, sir.
I don't have the mic. You marked Mike Davis, which is awesome, but you have a high school right next to Mike Davis. So are you accommodating all the school buses with all your planning and all this industrial and adding more commercial and trucks that you have school buses and school functions and everything that is over on that yellow pond that are right at that intersection? You're adding a whole bunch of business in an area that doesn't seem infrastructure to move forward.
Folks, this is the interchange activity center. This is the most intense area of traffic and interaction. Each one of the developments that go through the rigorous development plan, access, means of ingress, egress are all taken care of. The focus of the city is trying to promote additional economic development opportunities that have higher paying jobs in our traditional service-based industry. Every single SDP that goes through in this project has to satisfy traffic concerns and all the other infrastructure requirements. So if we put those to the side, because those are taken care of in the administrative process. What we're looking forward to is your comments related to the type of industries that are being promoted. That adequate safety or that's inherent with all of the development that has to satisfy with something to go from the side of the shop.
Yes, this is one piece of the puzzle. It's the land development code amendments allow these. There are different methods for the different kinds of planning. This slide is to show where the different zoning PUDs are. Different PUDs are planning the developments. They're like small zones. There's about 11 PUDs that are in the area. I'm not sure if you're just this is a nice slide just to familiarize yourself with the area. There's Magnolia Pond here. There's City Gate, yes, there's White Lake. Here there's Forest Land here. There's Westport here. You may want to know what an overlay is. This amendment, this land development code amendment is proposes a zoning overlay. I have two images here. This is to illustrate the base zoning. And this is to show that with an aerial view that sees these boundaries, that this is the same geographic area, but what an overlay does is it sits on top of the base zone. Let me go into a little bit more detail. All parcels within Collier County are zoned. This base zoning determines the types of uses allowed and the site of design and development standards which apply according to the zoning district parcel within. Uses typically can be agricultural, residential, commercial, industrial, or a mixture. And the standards to include lot design requirements such as minimum lot area, building dimension standards, the maximum building height, or minimum yard requirements such as minimum front yard setbacks. What an overlay does is it sits on top of the zone in an area in the county and supplements these using the other standards. This allows communities within the county to promote and incentivize desired development. It's in a specific area, what it overlay is. It's only in a specific area to help promote its character. There are, with the land development code amendment, again, there are uses that are being added and design standards. With the Collier Boulevard Innovation Zone is being proposed, the Collier Boulevard S75 Innovation Zone overlay is being proposed to promote economic growth and to diversify the economy of the county by attracting businesses that are identified by port statutes. These are high wage employment opportunities, targeted industries in manufacturing, trade, finance, and insurance, information technology, professional, scientific and technical services, educational services, medical and diagnostic laboratories, space research and technology, patent owners and lessors, child daycare services, and job training, management, and corporate headquarters. These objectives can be achieved by allowing these industries to use these economic development objectives. The zoning overlay can do this in a focused area of the county, created by a growth management plan followed by a development program. I have this slide before you to show you an idea of what these industries can look like, these industry businesses can look like. These facilities are modern facilities, they are clean, and later on I'll tell you about the design standards that go on about what is being done to make sure that the facilities do not provide a nuisance. This is an example of one of the SIC codes that's in that list. This is SIC code 3842, the handout list. Orthopedic, prosthetic, and surgical appliances. But this is an example of what one of these businesses can create as a product. Here's another. This is aircraft parts and auxiliary equipment. This is SIC code 3728. And parts of airplanes essentially. And SIC code 3825 for instruments for measuring and testing electrical and electricity systems. You see that there's complex machinery being created in these modern facilities. I want to, yes, sir. What was the question?
If you go back to that now, I want to see where you're going to talk in this, you know, this building. And they're gonna be next to, what is it? Just, it's a good question, where is it state and then overlay?
Those aren't necessarily going to be just they can be
Don't go where you want. Nothing bigger.
And by the way, guys, I don't know if we adequately said this, but this is a board initiative to move forward with how to develop the uses. Staff, we're not going to do anything. We're just trying to put this on the books. Obviously, it has to go through the approval process, the public hearing process, but there's two major applications here at play. You have a growth management plan, and you have a land development plan. Land development code implements the growth management plan. So staff is not going to go out there with shovels. And there's we don't know how much square footage the building that this would want to do establish minimum requirements. And so this is an opportunity to develop a vacant land as well as redevelop already built. And so all those decisions that are made to develop a site, that's not done by staff, that's done by the private sector. We're just trying to give the private sector the ability, the tools, the incentives to go ahead and try to redevelop this property and develop this property. All right, so the question was for release and you're talking about transportation. Well, again, anytime a property is developed, they have to go through a secondary review process. But also, there's utility requirements to meet the level of services that the county has already established. It's not our intent to develop a property without to develop, which is going to be negatively impacted. So you have a question? Well, I think what they're all trying to say is if you're going to build development, city development, looks for is easy access, ingress, exit, lights, let the people turn in, roads, open that for them. And that's the problem here is that we're seeing currently for the horse. The horse has to be the roads. It has to be the ingress, it has to be out of the patches before you can build anything. They're already locked up with the wolf and paradise coast. Now with the impound yard, they're going to build there, 50 acres or whatever. 300? Right. So we need the roads, and that's what the problem is. We don't see the roads. Thank you, Gary.
Yeah, there's 1,200 acres of building, you said it's 1,200 acres, but not only that. There's not. If you get a new business, you make it build buildings. How much of the 1,200 acres is available for something to build?
The 1,200 acres is just the boundaries of the group itself.
Right. You already have a bunch of things for building.
Correct. This is a supplement with what already there. It's not going to. There is vacant land here, but we don't have much.
Well, look at there. Well, there are a number of many developments already here. So what this really is doing is, like John said, solving. These property owners already have entitlements built in the manner that they have already been approved by the Board of County Commissioners. And so what this does, it allows them to build whatever they already have established, but also the economic development uses that we're building. And we're proposing this because we're trying to build the will of the board and you guys build the will of people. What I'm sensing here on the hearing is that there's some concerns about the existing roadway that
Monitoring of the roads around Golden Gate City in the next 5 years. And they're also working on the 155 exchange, interchange on the grid. So that's a big part of our lives. We didn't think of those meetings and we're aware that's coming. And now we're one, I even know where we plan all together. I do agree with the economic development in this area, but we're all looking at how to keep our homes occasionally and do have all this much traffic and don't have new access for better, wider roads and whatever. We're all stuck in home while you're having this.
Mike, this, I understand the cost. You're looking for expanded roadways. One of the things the county is working on is called Edgefield Road. Edgefield Road is a parallel believer that runs about miles between 951. That division is going to connect up the Wolfsville by crossing 75 by the city gate, cross over, and then go down to connect into US 41 south just east of the Collier Boulevard US 41 exit. That's a long way from that works coordination, extended economic development opportunity. This meeting is simply going to talk about the economic activities and the use that are being proposed. It doesn't try to coordinate with the roadway extension. We know that is happening in tandem with, but we understand that it sounds like one of the things that will take the trend and stop and the Department of Transportation is congestion within the interstate activity center is something of great concern within the state. That convey that to the transportation department as well as for the county commission.
Thank you again for your.
So over to CBIIZO. Yes, sir.
Is there a county tax incentive for companies that live here? Is that what we're talking about?
This is the tax increment financing area. It's called innovation zone county. So there, the economic development department will handle and oversee. And that, those kind of improvements can be used for public infrastructure, water, sewer, street lights, that kind of thing. Go ahead, Jim. So, I think that's, you have one more slide, Sean? Yeah.
We talked about the use, there are, and you have the proposed use list, drafted it so far. Before you, if you grab the form of man, you can just walk it. Now, there's two parts to the land development code amendment. There's the proposed economic development uses. There's also the site design and development standards to offset the possible negative influences from those uses.
And so that's for the land development code amendment, which is one half of this whole exercise. Remember, we have the growth management plan amendment, then we have the land development code amendment. The land development code, consistent with growth management plan. So what Sean just, especially said was, the land development code side of things, we're dealing with the development uses and new development standards that are proposed for those sites.
But exactly, the land development code amendment will be implemented. Stronger organization. And so I talked about the uses. Now these are the site design. This is the overview of the site design and development standards that are being drafted in the land development code. There's two parts to the site design standards. There are standards for the entire overlay, all the non-residential uses in the entire overlay. And there's also additional standards for new uses that are being allowed. Say that you, once again, all areas in the activity center line innovation zone overlay proposed boundaries are zoned. So there's a base zoning. So that zoning has permitted uses, it has its own design standards. So what the additional standards do is they for the new uses, there's standards for the entire overlay, and there's additional standards, design standards for the new uses that are being allowed. Say that there's a new use being allowed that wouldn't normally be allowed in the overlay, but this is being allowed by this overlay, it gets specific design standards for it. So the first off, let's talk about the entire overlay. There's non-residential standards that are being continued in the areas. Interchange master plan area already has interchange master plan. The land development code amendment is carried over those same standards. But the land development code amendment for the standards to the entire overlay is also prohibiting polluted discharge. Now, when it comes to the additional standards for the new uses that are being allowed, there are a lot of design requirements and building design standards. There's standards for operations of the businesses, which are required. So the operations of the businesses are required within an enclosed building. And then there's also environmental regulations for noise, odor, vibration, smoke, electrical disturbance, and also secondary containment. There's also architectural and design standards, such as screening for mechanical equipment, placement of loading areas, so you don't have a loading area that creates traffic that's nearby some say a residential use.
And all these types of standards that we're talking about are there to protect the health of the property. Then you have architectural design standards.
Yeah, the last architectural design standard is exterior lighting. So I spoke about the land development code amendment, and earlier on, I mentioned that there's going to be upcoming public hearings. Once again, your input is very valuable in this process. This is the first of those well, this isn't a public hearing, this is never a public information meeting, but there's going to be subsequent hearings after this public information. This public information meetings, reach out to let the public know about this endeavor, this board direct.
So what they're seeing here is the bifurcation of the two applications.
Correct.
Things get amended on the left. Right. But did you have given, CCPC stands for Collier County Planning Commission.
Yes.
CCP stands for Board of County Commission. You'll notice that the CCPC is August 18th, that's for a transmittal hearing. The Board of County Commission meeting is October 17th, which is also a transmittal. What happens is if the board says yes to the resolution, it goes to the state for 30 days. If it comes back with no comments, then we will reschedule the growth management plan sometime in the winter for Collier County Planning Commission, again, another public hearing, as well as the Board of County Commission for adoption. So there's two differences, the transmittal and the adoption. With our land development ordinance, we are going to bring those forward when it's time for the adoption hearing of the growth management plan. There's 4 public hearings associated with that growth management plan and the land development ordinance. We have the Collier County Planning Commission, Board of County Commission, particularly the downtown areas. We also have some smaller meetings. So I just wanted to try to give you an idea. Friendsville for the growth management plan. If and when that is approved, it'll come back before the Collier County Planning Commission to public hearing, as well as the Board of County Commission. We will have that land development permit be a meeting, so they'll be on the same agenda. Do you guys have any questions? If not, are you talking about the economic? And this meeting here, this meeting is just for the growth management and the development program, not getting into the major changes that are proposed in this area. Again, we have your point of contact number, we have your point of contact, hopefully your email address. We can forward you your information to the appropriate staff member who could better handle that type of question. That's what it is. You recommend your information? Thank you, appreciate it. We're the zoning, that's transportation, that's also Florida Department of Transportation, so it's.
You know, stage and know what the other one's saying, so that you can then put in what they did in.
Our transportation staff will be a part of that process. This is the information.
I would say it's one down was transportation meetings here at the community center in the spring, and I'm sure we're going to have some more. They usually post them, but we did have a community here in Oakford, and they know all of the maps and everything else.
That's great. Are they gonna have another one?
I guess. Especially what they're going to see back how it's about roads.
And certainly the comments that we're getting from this public meeting summarize comments about transportation related issues. Well, understood. Does anyone have a question about the growth management plan? Sure, yeah.
Basically, you're just saying, in addition to all the uses that, in addition to all the uses you've already approved, you're just adding more uses.
Summary, absolutely, that's correct. That's what's proposed. I mean, obviously, none of this still subject to public hearings with the provided and things of that nature, but that's what's proposed. We're not taking away anybody's existing property rights. You know, they've been approved with a PUD with a list of uses, not taking that away. But what we're really doing is in the zoning code, we're putting in, proposing additional uses. Of the opportunity to help or redevelop the property. Anyone have a question on the land development? Sir, you know, move your lips, yeah.
if you put in the domain of people, then you are in fact their properties and what they. Because there wasn't any road going through there. You know, done with it. Properties.
And the domain is a function of a government entity. This proposal here is not for. I don't know if that's true.
Well, you were some of the ones that were taken. So, you know,
Okay, again, this is proposing, let's use the development standards, not our intent to utilize any of the for, as far as what's going to be proposed in
Well, I was
the red line.
price for, you know, uses of their land. And what's now happened when it was, there's many of their names, and it was also, and they had to move out. They couldn't live there anymore, even though they started living in their house.
Do you know what kind of year that happened?
Yeah, it's, long time.
So the government exercised any domain for these roads, was it, or?
You don't have to take that property that you have there. It's from the hotel.
Are you referring to? Investment?
The industrial PUD, there was no interest. The proposal that we were proposing had use of going on. Whatever action that you're speaking about, not related to the action of adding additional uses. Yeah.
Right, but state law,
His statement was, this action has nothing to do with the other.
yeah.
There has been multiple utilizations of amendments made for way expansion within this county. It's how road rates get constructed. This proposal,
There's no road.
this proposal does not provide.
Order to do this,
I understand
it has some eminent domain, and you took those properties.
I disagree.
Well, what, I'll bring you the case. We have all the legalities of it, and we can present it to you, we put it right up there on the screen if you want. And our neighbors can find it taken away. So you all need to be very careful about what you say. And make sure that it's factual, because we'll catch you, and we'll bring it back to you.
This action has nothing to do.
Adding-
In order adding uses, zoning code has nothing to do.
And in order to add these uses, you have to take that land.
Adding uses to zoning code. Expanded roadway, taking property to put in.
It wasn't roadway, that's what we wanted, it was this. It's that what it is.
Let me get my hand up. Fully, not gonna. Say you have a property and you want to develop a 1,000 square foot. That is going to be treated differently than a property that you're going to develop with a million. It's on a case by case basis. As these major developments come through, like the rezoning action or something like that, that's when that type of discussion comes up.
Right,
But again, what Mr. Chairman is saying is,
just the hypothetical. Want to give you a fact. The neighbor, our neighbor there, he started building a house, he put the permits in, he got approved for everything, everything was ready to go, then all of a sudden they ended the building and they took away his permit. So, you know, there was something unusual about the way it was done, and now it's too far.
can't comment.
Sorry. Well, I can give the facts, the figures, and more out.
That's good, yeah, please. Again, we're here as for service.
Right,
We're here to serve the people.
right.
And so we're not, this is,
Sure, you get your facts right before you start speaking.
well, again, what we're saying, and again, it's not trying to, we're proposing uses to this innovation zone. There's already a number of PUDs in this innovation zone that have a list of the uses anyway. Proposing to add more uses and development standards associated with those properties. That's it. What happens, you know, this action for the growth management plan and the land development program, yeah, sorry, it's being done. But once you take it, your concern will be solved. Anyone else have a question? Growth management plan, land development. Plan. Go back to that one slide earlier. Growth management plan, fire planning commission, on safety. Board of Planning Commissioners, October 17th, that's the GMP amendment. If that gets approved, then later on in the winter, come back and we'll have the adoption hearing for the growth management plan, as well as $9 plan. So, if I don't, if there was a great street, sounds like we're done here.
Do you have any, comments you want to do?
No promises, okay. You sure you have any other questions? Okay. Yes, sir.
Who would I talk to about the South Florida Water District? That main Golden Gate Canal runs right through there. Basically, the whole Golden Gate City and everything going east of that, all drains through that one canal, and Highway 75 is kind of like a berm, one exit for the water to get through onto the highway. Is there another idea of drainage that canal water down to the south, along the Collier Boulevard? With the unmentioned in the Berkeley Bay, and have take some of the drainage off. If we were to get a 20-inch drain, like we had in Houston a couple of years ago, the whole Golden Gate City would be that. If we could get another drainage system going down Collier Boulevard, that would be excellent.
So, thank you for your input. Once again, this is about land development code. We work in zoning when it comes to stormwater, but also have a that does work with that. My card and contact.
Any question?
Yeah, I have a question, 311, someone will answer. Clearly state what you need, and they will direct you to the exact person and phone number we used it several times. Excellent.
And yeah, sometimes it can be kind of confusing with all the different layers of government, who does what, that sort of thing. Confusing. Certainly try to help you kind of next strong and that's staff. Any thoughts? I know we had some discussion about transportation. We talked about energy.
Future plan of what that is to look like. Where do we get the guidance right on what the proposal is?
The proposed system transportation.
And the proposal, here's the forward pass there on Collier.
If you, Sean, after the meeting, I get the gentleman's information. Sure. So, kind of quiet. All right, so we talked about transportation, we talked about energy green, we talked about drainage, South Florida water management issue. I've got improvements and the truck stop, don't get the truck. So, okay, I think that wraps it, guys. I want to thank you very much for coming out. Appreciate it. Again, you have this recorded, and feel free to come to these meetings. Oh, by the way, anytime that you wanted to email something, your concerns, or raise something that's fine, it all becomes public record, and you can actually upload those things so that the elected officials, the appointed officials, can see what. And did you yeah. Yeah, okay. All right, I think that adjourns our meeting. Thank you guys for coming out. Appreciate it.